When a show's been on air for more than 14 years, it's bound to build up a massive amount of lore. Hi, I'm Joe with Channel Frederator, and we're here to give you 107 more The Venture Brothers facts. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to become part of the notification squad. Let's take a walk on the weird side. When we last visited the beloved Venture family, the show had just wrapped its 6th season. As of 2017, 72 individual episodes have aired over the course of 13 years. That, my friends, is a long run. There have also been several shorts in between seasons to hold fans over until the next season's premiere. For example, All This and Gargantua 2 aired more as a season 5 finale than a season 6 premiere. In February 2017, it was revealed that the beloved cartoon had been renewed for a 7th and 8th season. According to the Venture Home News fan page, the upcoming seasons consist of 10 episodes each, an increase from the previous 2 seasons, which only had 8 episodes each. 8 out of the 10 episodes for season 7 were already scripted when production began. While this sped up the production process, it left the 2 remaining episodes open to discuss current events. Rumors have swirled that fans might see the return of the Venture clan in fall 2018. According to an Adult Swim programming block which aired on September 15th, 2017, fans have 422 days until the season 7 premiere, but it's Adult Swim, so give or take a couple of weeks. Impatient fans have occasionally criticized the show for taking extended breaks in between seasons. In response, creator Doc Hammer has said, "When they complain, we know it really means that they love us, and we like that. We like your attitude, Doc." Despite the Venture Brothers' success as the longest-running series on Adult Swim, the show's creators have said that the series' theme is failure. How's that for irony? While the show itself certainly embraces the concept of defeat, creator Jackson Public notes that the same mentality does not go into the writing of the show. They push to be more creative with each and every season. Other central ideas behind the show were, what if Johnny Quest grew up to be a failed version of his dad? And what if we fell asleep watching VH1 Classic? I'm gonna bet those are 2 things you never thought would go together. Though everyone knows and loves the Venture Brothers, the creators insist that the early days were not so successful. It took Adult Swim several months to renew the show after the first season ended, and stylistically, those first few episodes were incredibly labor-intensive for the artists and animators. Both the backgrounds and character designs were improved going into season 2. While season 2's backgrounds were entirely hand-painted, the only season 1 episode that was given that special attention was the pilot. It didn't help that only 242,000 people tuned into the premiere of the show. That's not so great by television standards. Good thing the series kept chugging along. Apparently, Public and Hammer used to spend time on the message boards posing as fans who obsessed over the Venture Brothers show, but their stunt may not have gotten quite the reaction they wanted. Apparently, no one gave a crap and thought Aqua Teen Hunger Force was the superior cartoon. Perhaps the creators of the Venture Brothers felt vindicated when Aqua Teen Hunger Force was cancelled in 2015, allowing the Ventures to officially take the longest-running spot in the Adult Swim roster. I mean, tooting their own horns is kind of understandable. Public and Hammer experienced huge success with their very first project. They had minimal credits before Venture Brothers, just the occasional voice or writing credit. Music for the series is composed by J.G. Thirlwell, who also goes by a variety of aliases, including Clint Ruin, Frank Want, and Fetus. What is it about this series that inspires pseudonyms? Outside of his work on Venture Brothers, Thirlwell is a prolific musician in his own right, having released albums and performed with artists like Nick Cave and ZOLA Jesus. Venture Bros was Thirlwell's sole voyage into the cartoon world until recently. In 2016, he began composing the score for the 9th season of Archer, which takes place in Los Angeles. Thirlwell admits that when initially approached to score the Venture Brothers, he was unsure whether or not to take on the project. Thankfully, he signed on. In fact, the music he created for the show was so distinct that it earned its own orchestral performance in New York City's Prospect Park. For those truly dedicated to the sound of the Venture Brothers, Thirlwell has released 2 volumes of his music for the show, which are available for purchase. Could you imagine the Venture Brothers if it was animated using CGI animation? Well, it almost was. Public revealed that when the show was being considered by Comedy Central, they were interested in using CGI techniques to bring these characters to life. However, the idea was scrapped due to the style not adhering to a classic Marvel look. After ending up with Adult Swim, the creators walked away from the CGI idea and animated the show using hand-drawn techniques. Many animated series used computer animation to speed up production and keep costs down, but not the Venture Brothers. The hand-drawn production gave the show the vintage look that fans love. Like many shows that continue to use a hand-drawn approach, key animation for the Venture Brothers is done in the United States, while in-between animation is done in Korean animation studios. The show is also incredibly script-focused, rather than storyboard-driven. Public has even admitted to directing every frame of each episode, which might explain the long waits for new seasons. Despite the tight process, Doc Hammer said that it is impossible to stop H. John Benjamin when he wants to ad-lib, and as a result, his dialogue is a middle ground between the original script and ad-libs. While Public and Hammer often give themselves a month to write a single episode, this isn't always the case. Everyone Comes to Hanks only took 3 days to be written, while Bright Lights, Dean City took 2 months. Despite its retro production style, the Venture Brothers has made some technical leaps. Starting with Season 3, the show was created and broadcast in high definition. As a result, the series became the first HD release for Adult Swim. Pretty funny that referencing the past results in a jump towards the future. The creators put together a hilarious behind-the-scenes clip in which the animation is jokingly rendered through various supercomputers. Sounds like something straight out of Dr. Venture's lab. You already know that the pilot for the Venture Brothers premiered as a one-off in February of 2003. What you might not know, the closing scene's dialogue had to completely change. Cartoon Network thought it was too much for Brock to tell a prostitute to turn around. Even for late night, some lines just can't be crossed. Otaku Senzuri also had to be retinkered for the pilot. Initially, he was a suspicious Arab in a script that was written pre-9/11. When it came time to produce the episode, he was changed into a ninja CEO. Episode 6 was one of the first episodes in which the Venture family members were brought together. The episode also marked the beginning of a lot of long-term plots, such as family rivalries and Season 2 agendas. At a 2014 panel, Public admitted that Season 6 was very difficult to draw due to the sheer number of characters involved in each episode. However, because Public and Hammer voiced so many of the characters, there have been few casting changes over the years. While Public has directed the majority of the episodes, there have been a few other directors over the years. SCHNEPP, a character designer and producer for shows like Metalocalypse, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and Aqua Teen Hunger Force, has stood at the helm of 16 episodes. Ki Young-bai, who has also worked on Shaolin Showdown, has directed a total of 14 episodes. From 2006 to 2011, The Venture Brothers was produced through the aptly named studio World Leaders Entertainment. Presently, The Venture Brothers is made by Titmouse Inc., a studio that produces everything from commercials to feature films to documentaries. In addition to The Venture Brothers, Titmouse has made the quirky cartoon China, Illinois, and the Jay-Z directed documentary The Story of OJ. Talk about variety. In addition to experimenting with science and magic, The Venture Brothers is also known for playing with the concept of gender, whether it be physically altering characters' appearances and voices, or subverting gender stereotypes with characters like Myra the Bodyguard. The show's creators are proud of this part of the series. Many fans were shocked when the character Henchman 24 was killed off in Season 3 and wondered if he could ever magically return. Both Public and Hammer initially disagreed about the controversial character death, but it was Hammer's idea to pull the trigger. Creative differences. Gets you every time. The disappearance of one character would hardly make a dent in the Venture universe, though. The fandom has documented more than 200 individual characters, both large and small. One might think that such an overwhelming number of personalities might get distracting, but the show has been recognized for its ensemble cast. Chris Wade of Slate has praised the show's complex web of characters for growing and developing throughout each season. Many of the characters are either blatant or subtle homages to real people and fictional characters alike. Inspiration has been drawn from film, comic books, art, music, politics, and just about any other source you can think of. For instance, Captain Sunshine is not only a shout out to Superman and Batman, but also Birdman, particularly in the way Birdman's powers are restored following his re-exposure to the sun. And Torrid, arch nemesis of the Order of the Triad, looks exactly like Deadman from the DC Comics without the D on his chest. Brick Frog is named after the indentation in a standard brick, and a villain from the live-action Tick show. His character design is a reference to the relatively obscure Marvel hero, Frogman. The supervillain suit that Dr. Killinger gives Dr. Venture is reminiscent of the suit Lex Luthor wears in the Challenge of the Super Friends cartoon series. However, Dr. Venture's costume is colored in the typical Venture Industries blue. Gotta stay fashion forward. And you can't go wrong with film references. When Dr. Venture reads the names Lisa, Carol, and Fremont in The Incredible Mr. Brisby, this, along with turning on the lamps, is straight out of Alfred Hitchcock's 1954 film Rear Window. In that same episode, when Molotov is dragging Brock out of the tar pits, complete with dinosaur replicas, it's a shout out to the tar pits in the Sin City story, The Big Fat Kill. The title of the episode, It Happening One Night, is also a reference to the 1934 movie It Happened One Night, a romantic comedy about a spoiled heiress and an out-of-work reporter who accidentally meet and fall in love. The creators have gotta be some film buffs. Of course, some pop culture references can pop in a little too soon for comfort. In the episode Handsome Ransom, Captain Sunshine, you know, that parody of Superman and Batman, takes a shine to Hank as his new Robin. This involves sleepovers and giving him lots of toys. The episode aired in October of 2009, a couple of months after Michael Jackson's death. For what it's worth, Captain Sunshine is voiced by none other than Kevin Conroy, who voiced Bruce Wayne in Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, and other DC Comics, TV shows, movies, and games. A lot of these subtle references come out in DVD commentary tracks. However, though Jackson Public revealed that he and Doc Hammer had recorded a commentary track for the Season 1 episode Home Insecurity, Warner Home Video chose to omit this track from the Season 1 DVD due to space limitations and some minor sound quality issues. Luckily, this track can be downloaded in 2 parts on Astrobase Go, aka the deep space of the web. As fans of the show know, many of the evil characters are gathered in the Guild of Calamitous Intent, which guards a mysterious orb of unknown power. At a 2013 panel, show creators discussed the orb, but ultimately turned the discussion over to fans for their orb-related theories. Doc Hammer seemed particularly thrilled with a theory that suggested the orb creates a gateway to an alternate dimension. Cartoon conspiracy. When it comes to structuring the series, creators Jackson Public and Doc Hammer have emphasized their goal of creating a show that does not necessarily require the viewer to watch in order. Hammer says this structure is specifically influenced by adventure books like The Hardy Boys. Still, the show does follow a loose storyline that involves character deaths, the introduction of new heroes and villains, and much more. Hammer says that this continuity is a source of pride for the writers, but that it's also hard to be funny when you have a plot to follow. Originally, the cast of the Venture Brothers operated out of the Venture Compound, a series of buildings located in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The compound featured such amenities as a cloning laboratory and a pool, just what every scientist needs. Despite the sheer size of the compound, Hank and Dean Venture still shared a bedroom. Fortunately, they didn't seem to mind, but as previously mentioned in our last video, the Colorado-based compound was utterly decimated by Monarch in a special episode that aired between Season 5 and Season 6. In Season 6, the Venture family relocates to New York City, where the show is also produced. Many of the episodes feature New York City landmarks. Can you spot them all? The updated location also contains some production inside jokes. For example, the new Venture headquarters appears to be located at Columbus Circle. Columbus Circle is home to the Time Warner Center, and Time Warner just happens to run Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. While Hank romances the ladies, Dean is busy using his time in New York City to get an education. He begins attending Stuyvesant University in Season 6. While there is no such institution as Stuyvesant University, Peter Stuyvesant was a prominent figure in New York City history, and many landmarks still bear his name today. Show writers have expressed how refreshing it is to write stories that take place in their home city. As Public would say, they're always writing about their dumb lives. Changing the setting to New York also allowed the writers to script a fresh batch of pop culture spoofs. In the first episode of Season 6, viewers were introduced to the Crusaders Action League, a team of heroes suspiciously similar to Marvel's The Avengers. Instead of Avengers Assemble, the Crusaders Action League cries out, Crusaders, convene! The NYC relocation also paves the way for the introduction of new villains, such as the Big Apple's own branch of the Guild of Calamitous Intent. Much of the GCI's activity in New York City is spearheaded by Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, aka Dr. Girlfriend, who officially joins the council. The GCI's first New York City-based recruit is Wide Whale, a dapper villain who might remind you of Marvel's Kingpin. In the Season 6 premiere, the Venture's beloved bodyguard, Brock Sampson, returns after a 2-season hiatus as the family protector. In addition to being free from hiding, Brock also finds love in the form of Wariana, a Crusaders Action League member who resembles Wonder Woman. The latest season also teaches viewers more about the Monarch. In Season 6, Episode 3, viewers learn that the Monarch's father was also a caped Crusader. Perhaps that's where he got his inspiration, or at least the design for his costume. The Monarch's father, who went by the name the Blue Morpho, acts and looks similar to the Green Hornet. Evidently, there is some sort of insect theme going on in this family. Hank Venture also finds love in Season 6 in the form of Serena Ong, but say it ain't so! It turns out Serena is actually the daughter of the villainous Wide Whale. If you don't know this already, Serena is voiced by actress CRISTIN MILIOTI, who also offered her voice to the character Cade in the Season 6 finale. Season 6, Episode 6 introduces an entirely new villainous conglomerate, the Doom Factory. Unlike the polished, old-school GCI, the Doom Factory is comprised of artsy villains who, live in Brooklyn. Speaking of Brooklyn, in addition to writing and voicing episodes of the Venture Brothers, Doc Hammer is also a skilled oil painter. He is completely self-taught, having learned simply from trial and error. This makes his realistic masterpieces all the more impressive. Hammer's painterly skill is in direct contrast to Public's writing chops. In an interview, Public says he was never a disciplined artist. Well, not many of us are. Hammer is clearly an admirer of Venture Brothers fan art. Many of his favorites come from the website DeviantArt, where there are plenty of fan renditions of Venture Brothers characters. It's hard to imagine the Venture Brothers mastermind, Jackson Public, working on anything non-Venture, let alone something kid-friendly. But before the inception of the Venture Brothers, that's precisely what he did. Among his pre-Venture credits, Public storyboarded cartoons including King of the Hill, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and PB&J Otter. Many interesting tidbits of Venture Brothers lore were cut from the show for varying reasons. For instance, in the episode The Doctor is Sin, there was a Freudian dream sequence that provided some backstory to the character of Killinger. This was cut due to time constraints. In the same episode, the scene in which Dr. Killinger disintegrates the Union heads into small piles of bright, multicolored dust is a reference to the 1966 film Batman. Another cut occurred on the episode The Incredible Mr. Brisby. In an early draft, Brisby planned to launch a new satellite network to take over the world of television and media. This satellite would play his own Busy Bee cartoons from the 1920s, spoofing Walt Disney cartoons created in the same time period. They turned out to be quite politically incorrect, so a new draft of the script was written. Much like the prior episode Careers in Science, The Incredible Mr. Brisby got bumped up to TV MA, all thanks to Molotov's outfit and Brock's erection. Dr. Quim, Medicine Woman, was slated to have a flashback implying that Dr. Quim could be the boy's biological mother, hence why she resembles Dean so much. This scene also didn't make it to the finished cartoon. In Orb, you can hear glass breaking at the end of the flashback showing Colonel Venture about to activate the orb. This foreshadows the reveal in the Revenge Society that Sandow broke the orb instead of killing Venture. In the commentary for The Diving Bell vs. the Butterglider, Doc Hammer and Jackson Public revealed that the Monarch and Dr. and Mrs. the Monarch did some pretty dirty cosplay involving a Khal Drogo costume from Game of Thrones. In Shadowman 9, in the Cradle of Destiny, Jackson initially wanted Dr. Girlfriend to be pregnant, but Hammer was very much against the idea. Her costume was created with that specific scenario in mind, but the plot device was scrapped at the last minute. Dr. Girlfriend's design is actually based on American Apparel outfits. It might be hard to see the resemblance because the creators also wanted to base her look on cosplay culture. In Showdown Acclamation Freak, the old butterfly suit that number 21 lets Hank wear is one of the fuzzy suits worn by the Monarch's henchmen in the pilot episode. The creators redesigned the suits because the fuzz was too much work to animate on so many henchmen. For the opening of Powerless in the Face of Death, Doc and Jackson spent 1/8 of this episode's budget just to secure the license to the song Everybody's Free to Feel Good by Aquagen featuring Rosala. Worth every penny, am I right? The episode Tears of a Sea Cow was initially titled Murder O'Clock. Gotta say, either are incredibly fitting. In case you missed it, in Home is Where the Hate Is, there is a portrait of Richard Nixon hanging above Sergeant Hatred's fireplace. Bill Hader provides the voice for Dr. Phineas Phage. You might have heard that voice before though. It's basically his Vincent Price impression, as demonstrated in the Vincent Price Holiday Special sketches on Saturday Night Live. The series creators were huge fans of David Bowie, and often included Bowie as a character on the show. When Bowie passed away in early 2016, Adult Swim released a Venture Brothers tribute in his honor. At a 2013 panel, Public said he would love to have David Bowie do a guest voice on the show. Sadly, that never came to pass. Speaking of voice actors, there was supposedly a Venezuelan Spanish dub that didn't do all that well. Only 26 episodes were completed. The rest didn't happen partly because Cartoon Network canceled the Latin American version of Adult Swim, and partly because Dean's Venezuelan voice actor retired in the middle of the series. From then on, it was just subs. For those of you who relish the artwork of the Venture Brothers, go Team Venture. The art and making of the Venture Brothers was released in August of 2017. The book includes early character sketches of Hank and Dean, background paintings, and even an intriguing shot of the original Team Venture meeting JFK. Fans might know the Venture Brothers more than the creators. Years ago, when Hammer and Public held a Venture Brothers trivia game at DragonCon, they were slaughtered by a knowledgeable crowd. Heck, not only that, but before the team records any lines, they pull up the Venture Wikipedia and do a quick read-through. Does this mean Wikipedia is a reliable source? The Venture Brothers is also wildly popular among cosplayers. Conventions regularly feature groups decked out as the entire squad, or individuals dressed as some of the show's more obscure characters. Now that's dedication. Venture Brothers fans also show their love for the series in more unique ways. One fan made a 3D model of the Venture compound. Wow, fans take the Venture Brothers so seriously that movie theater chain The Alamo Drafthouse hosted a party for the season 6 premiere. The series creators are always making hilarious spin-offs of their own work, including a short live-action movie featuring Public and Hammer in costume as various characters. While many shows wax and wane in their popularity and critical reception, the Venture Brothers fandom remained steadfast. As recently as 2013, prestigious magazine The Atlantic dubbed the series a must-watch. The Venture Brothers boasts an impressive 8.6 out of 10 on IMDb, with more than 20,000 votes. This high rating places the show at number 46 on IMDb's list of the most highly rated animated series. Number 45, you might ask? The legendary anime One Piece. The Venture Brothers has been nominated for an Annie Award on 3 different occasions for the show's production design and music. classic. Other accolades include IGN placing the Venture Brothers at number 14 on their list of the top animated shows for adults, beating out the popular series Adventure Time. IGN also ranked the Venture Brothers at number 56 on their top cartoons of all time. If you're a serious Venture Brothers fan, you should be following the Venture Home News Facebook page, a Venture-themed hub with regular updates, giveaways, and contests. The final episode of Season 6 aired on March 20th, 2016. The episode, while not a cliffhanger, left fans wondering what would become of the Monarch, who was discovered masquerading as his late father, the Blue Morpho. The Venture Brothers is unlikely to have a definitive ending. The creators haven't planned out a series finale, and public has said that he feels the show shouldn't have a specific endpoint. I guess all good things must lack a specific endpoint, and the creators have said that if there was ever a reboot, it would be a lot darker, no musical numbers, and Dr. Venture would be all oiled and muscular. Wait, what exactly are we talking about? Once again, I'm Joe, and thanks for watching 107 Facts About the Venture Brothers. Did we miss anything? How hyped are you for more seasons? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to click the bell icon to become part of the notification squad. We have videos dropping every day, so make sure to subscribe, because remember, Frederator loves you.